Uh, Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Heads Up. And got a nice intro there from a young lady. Don't know if you heard that or not, Joe. But anyway, I've had 2 weeks. I've had a bit of a siesta. And I've had some great racing and even greater sport. Gee, with Phil Mickelson winning last week, a 50-year-old. There's hope for you yet. But gee, it was just outstanding sport, wasn't it, last Monday? Did you watch it?
To be honest, Neil, no, I didn't. I was at the Hara jump outs of all places last Monday. But no, I was keeping an eye on it, and great to see him win. What he double bogeyed or bogeyed the first hole and kept birdied, and everyone thought, oh, well, Kip was going to win from there. But no, Mickelson, bloody impressive. What did they say? It was something like 28 years between his first and his last PGA Tour wins, which is that a record, or I think it's close to it.
He set a few records. Yeah, a few records along the way. Apparently, they call him Fig Jam. You know what it stands for? You know what it is? Yeah.
Just ask me. Yeah, he polarizes people. Obviously, Steve Williams, he's not a fan. He made some comments at one little talk he gave a few years back. Didn't particularly like Mr. Mickelson, but then you get people who think he's a great guy. So, yeah, definitely a polarizing character.
Yeah.
But hey, you can't deny his longevity and commitment to the game, and he got the job done.
Sure did. And he's a bit of a punter too, isn't he? He often backs himself and goes to the casino. So
probably not quite the same as John Daly in the punting stakes, but yeah, I do think he likes a little wager from time to time.
Yeah.
I see what the highest odds I saw, about 250 to 1. I think I saw some people.
Yeah, sure.
I know a few New Zealanders got 150. One got 100 to 1 after the first round. Someone you and I know well that likes to bet on golf. He backed Mickelson for a decent amount after the first round. So there was some good collects there.
Yeah. Is he about 57 kilograms? Going on 60 anyway. No,
moving on, Neil. Keep moving on.
Actually, no, he played well on the Masters for Mickelson, didn't he? It was a great indicator that he was in form. So, geez, he did play well. Yeah, the good fight, Popstar Princess. Popstar Princess was a good one. Good ride too, I thought. Took the gamble of hugging the fence, which he had to do, Riddell, and just held on. But yeah, top ride.
It was a top ride. Yeah, the horse that has had its share of ownership issues. I think the Corner Jays, their lease on the horse ends in maybe the end of the season. So be interesting to see whether the breeder who owned the horse and leased it out to the Corner Jays will continue to race it past the end of this season. So good to see Jonathan Riddell, rails, hugging ride, got the job done. And I think with leaders, when you got a dead set leader like Popstar Princess, when you go to the middle of the track, I think leaders can drift around a bit. Whereas if you just stick to the rail, often it can pay dividends, and it worked very well for the team in that case. So, and then the next race, the jockeys continued to go wide, and I think another horse came up the fence and won that race too, from memory. The last race on the day, Rotor, I can't remember the name of the horse now.
I know it was a Dawn Parade on the last race coming down the outside, but there was a horse, they were winning on the inside, right on the inside and out in the centre. So that track, if you handle the going and your horse likes the rail like Popstar Princess, you've got to go there, don't you? So it was good to see. Yeah, run to perfection last week, improved off its previous run when it was punted really heavily at its previous run. Won really well at Tirapa, and Stephen Marsh trained horse was really impressive. Good racing there last week. Anyway, and anything else from the league or rugby you want to touch on?
Oh, yeah, no, I got the race before. It was because came up the rail the race before, and you're right, Dawn Parade won the race after. Yeah. The rugby, is it me or is it a bit boring, kind of these New Zealand-Australia games where basically, what have we had? 10 games so far, 10 wins to the New Zealand sides. Does it really capture your imagination, Neil?
Not really. Just sort of, all you want to do now is just see them keep going and give them a good old whitewash for the whole season, don't you, really?
It'd be amazing if they did.
It could happen. Who knows?
So that would leave 5 teams all on 5 wins. Yeah, you could win all your games in the competition and run 5th.
Incredible. No, it's gonna be interesting.
Bit of a Clayton's competition in reality.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is different times we live in, and obviously those in Melbourne are experiencing more of those different times over the next week. So
Yeah.
hopefully none of that rears its head here in NZ.
Yeah, too right. No, and anyway, got a good race tomorrow at Trentham. Now, the key is the weather forecast. It's a heavy at 11 at the moment, I think. Well, it wasn't. I checked it this morning. And the weather forecast is going to make sure it doesn't improve to a good 3 anyway. So not a rain forecast, going to suit the wet trackers, and not a big field, but always a good race. North Island Challenge Stakes. You're going there tomorrow?
Yes, we'll be there.
What are you going to put your house on? Or maybe garnish that?
Well, it looks like a match race between the 1 and the 2, Dolcetto and Rosewood, but let's just bring up the ratings of this race for the what the handicapper had to work with. One moment. And with Dolcetto being in the race, you've got Rosewood, who is a rating 90 horse, carrying the same weight as an 86 rated horse, and only 1.5 kilos more than 80, 76 and 68 rated horses. So you'd have to say that the weights definitely favour Rosewood, the track conditions will favour Rosewood, and the spies in New Plymouth are telling me she is jumping out of her skin. So training very well. So the money has come. I can't really see Rosewood getting beaten, to be fair.
It does look that way, doesn't it? Because the last time those two met, doesn't mean something else could beat them, but was back in 2019. Wanganui. Where is it? Anyway, and Rosewood was beaten by Dolcetto, but Rosewood was hampered twice in the straight, just beaten. And she's got a more of a weight advantage this time. 2 years ago is a long time, obviously, but and they met again since on a dead track where Rosewood just didn't fire.
Yeah, Rosewood had a bit of an off year last year, and I think the key. I know Dolcetto likes the heavy tracks, but I think Rosewood absolutely loves it. And that Trentham track, heavy 11, it'll be loose. That'll be right up her alley. Yeah, I can't. And she had that good resuming run at New Plymouth 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
The rest of them, hard to make a case for any of them to beat Rosewood, especially with the weights.
Yeah. But actually, what prompted me to make sure we previewed this race was the Raceform article by Des Coppins. People have got the magazine will know it. And there's just quite a few things here. It's a really interesting article, actually. He said horses that won this race many years ago, some viewers will know these names: Gloaming, Desert Gold, Kindergarten, Showgate, we all know about, we've all heard of her, Beau Vite, Main Brace and Greyway. Further down, Star Bell, Panzer Chief, Yaha Bibi, Key or Kedra, Munley, Coleridge, all just top horses, and it's a shame it's sort of lost its mana since the last few years.
I'm pretty confident that when those horses won the race, it wasn't run in the last weekend of May.
Yeah, definitely. It was. Well,
it's been moved in the calendar, and unfortunate that the open handicap ranks aren't that deep now, and you're not going to get the quality of those horses winning this race.
Yeah,
unfortunately, but still good history there. Some great names you read out there.
No, terrific. No, Panzer Chief was one of my favourite horses. We'll mention him later on this morning. Right, sports bet. The last time 2 weeks ago, actually, I think you're pretty game. You put out a multi. I thought, gee, the goat's getting a bit cocky here, but cockiness paid off.
I know, we got there. So stick to the Friday night games, and Mark, your brother's going to be complaining to the show, saying he's jumped on the bandwagon. I'm with the Warriors, Neil. I'm with the Warriors to beat the Cowboys, cover the 2.5 point start. I think the Warriors are on an upward trend, and the Cowboys, no Taumalolo, I don't think, and they won't be competitive tonight. The Warriors will get the job done. Pretty confident on that one. 4 units.
4 units. Okay, sounds good.
So -2.5 at $1.90.
Yep. Because listeners sometimes ask how many units if I don't put it up sometimes, or if we don't mention it on here. So that their default is 3 units unless said otherwise.
Yes, we can make that the default position, Neil. Yes.
Really? Okay. Right, so 4 units, $1.90. Looks good. Okay. The question 2 weeks ago was who was the rider who rode the last 2 Rotorua Cup winners? And it was?
Funnily enough, Jonathan Riddell.
Mm.
And I think we had a discussion, and both of us were caught with our pants down. We thought Rhys Jones had retired. If we had looked at the jockeys list for that meeting on that Saturday at Rotorua, we would have seen him riding Katy Perry. But I think that was his last ride, from what I can understand. So, yes, apologies to Rhys on that one. So, how many people knew Jonathan Riddell was the rider?
7.
7. Okay.
So it's 7 dog race.
Let's go right down the middle. Number 4.
Number 4, Scott. Well done, Scott. I'll put your bet up by noon tomorrow on the website.
Right.
There.
Here's this week's question, Neil.
Yep.
You talked about Panzer Chief.
Too right. Yeah.
Who was This is one for the older listeners. I don't think the younger guys will know this one. No, they might. Who was Panzer Chief's owner? A man that bought the horse after winning a massive on-course jackpot. So if you know the name of that punter/owner, find Panzer Chief, text or email your answers through to Neil, and you're in the draw for next week's multi.
That's right, the answer down there, so it reminds me. No, it was a great era, and I remember that because it used to be so exciting watching this horse race, owned by the Panzer Chief race, because you knew what the background to the horse was there. 027 352 6402 or formpro@formpro.co.nz. Give that to me by Tuesday night. Yep. Right, put bats and bouquets.
Well, there was a bit of media coverage over the weekend of a multi that the TAB originally paid out and then took the money back off the account holder. Widespread media coverage, would be fair to say. I don't agree. I agree with the TAB. They shouldn't pay the full amount. It was clearly an error in odds. That's pretty obvious. But why let it get to the media? Why not talk to the guy, negotiate some sort of middle ground, we'll call it, and get those kind of stories away from a media that has frenzied upon racing morsels of the negative variety. And here's another effective negative story about racing, about the TAB. Keep that stuff out of the media and just sort it privately, even if it costs you a few $1,000s, 10,000, whatever it is, to keep it away from the media, because it just doesn't make the industry, doesn't do the industry any favors. I'm sure if they went to that guy and said, hey, we'll give you 5 or 10 grand, he would have taken it. No story, no nothing, and moved on.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I agree. It was my immediate thought. I thought, well, crikey, when I first read the story, basically it was he won $110,000, but he put the bet on late. The odds were still up, and he put the bet on fairly enough, but he knew the odds were way over what they should have been. And I think from the point of view of the industry, we don't want to be giving out $110,000 for a bet that shouldn't be really on it, but a $10,000 payout, even $15,000, $20,000 payout would have satisfied, sure.
So OpenBet has a contract with the TAB, and the TAB pay them about $300,000 a week.
Yeah, that's right.
For the upkeep of this site. If you had to pay out a $10,000 ex gratia payment, why wouldn't you just take that off what you pay OpenBet for their negligence in not the whatever reason why the odds weren't updating once the games had kicked off? I don't know. It seems bizarre, but maybe there's more to it. But yeah, it doesn't help when that sort of stuff goes to the media.
Yeah. And when you put it on that context, $300,000 a week.
10 grand,
10,000
not much.
No, it's not, is it? So, but yeah, anyway, that's interesting. And now I've got a bouquet for HRNZ for getting out the fields by Friday, today at noon, for the Jewels. That's 9 days ahead of the race meeting. So gives the punters plenty of time to get into the markets, see the draws, media coverage on TV, etc., on trackside. So well done. Maybe the Gallops could do that. Or when does the Karaka Millions? It's hard with Gallops, I suppose. We've got horses. Not really, I suppose. Like the Karaka Millions, that comes out on the Wednesday, obviously.
Yeah.
For the Saturday meeting. Could that be done earlier? Just that race, say the previous Friday? Does that make sense? Could it be looked at?
I would suggest, without knowing exactly, I would suggest just doing one race in a 6-race card would pose lots of challenges to the current software of NZTR and the TAB potentially. I would suggest that's probably one of the main reasons why it's not done like that. Whereas, I mean, if you could do all 6 races for Karaka Million on the Monday, perhaps, but yeah, again, that would mean nominations on the Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, I don't know of any thoroughbred races, to be fair, that get their noms out or get their fields out any earlier than a sort of a Wednesday for a Saturday meeting. Maybe occasionally in Australia it's the Tuesday, but certainly not 9 days out. I guess it's the beauty of the Jewels, and they do it for the New Zealand Cup too. I think that's about 8 days or 7 or 8 days the draw is done and the fields are out for that. But the one advantage Harness does have over the Gallops.
Yeah, maybe something that could be looked at. But no, it's just good to see. Like, that's drum up interest. You can look at the fields on Monday, Tuesday, early next week, and make out your draws. And
I bet you though the markets will be set to about 130% on opening. So 80% of the horses will drift from their opening quotes. You can basically guarantee that.
Yeah. But they've had I haven't checked that, but you normally have the futures market up, don't they, for the Jewels, so people can bet into the markets.
Oh yeah, they've been able to bet into those markets up till now, but once the final field market comes out, it'll be set at 130 on opening, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, it's always a good day of racing. You'll be going there, I think, won't you? So
yeah, might pop along, have a look. I don't think I've missed a Jewels at Cambridge. So it's now 3 years since we had one. So better get along and check it out. The team there, Dave Branch and his team at Cambridge Raceway, actually do a very good job. So like to support them.
Yeah, no, they sure do. Right, now, walk down memory lane. Got an interesting horse for us, have you?
Yeah, but one out of left field, and actually I'd be interested if the viewers can come up with a horse that has done more than what this horse has done in terms of starts over the steeplechase fences. So this horse had 22 starts prior to its first steeplechase race, Neil, and 17 of those were over the flat and 5 over the hurdles, and was still a maiden when having its first steeplechase start in June of 1981. And it was ridden by a person that I didn't actually know even rode, let alone over jumps, Royden Burgesson, current Awapuni trainer, rode this horse in its first steeplechase start at start number 23 of its career.
Yeah.
Over its next 68 starts, 67 of them were in steeplechases, and 1 was a hurdle race. How many horses have had more than 67 steeplechase starts in New Zealand? And that was spread over basically 5 and a bit years, from June 81, its first steeplechase start, to September 86 for its last steeplechase start. So, it's around 12 steeplechases per year for 5 and a bit years. So amazing, really.
It is.
The name of the horse?
It is.
Well, it's a horse was trained in the CD, I think at Levin, could be wrong, but his name was Foaming Henry. Its regular rider was Stephen Dennett over those, and it went on to win 7 steeplechases. So its final career stats, 90 starts with 7 wins. But Imagine that, 67 steeplechase starts. You do the Ks, the average steeplechase, say 4,000 meters,
Mm.
clocked up a few Ks in its career.
Yeah, that's amazing because you've got to be pretty sound to be a good steeplechase. And to have 12 starts average a season, just a good tough horse.
Well, you think the jump season really goes May, June, July, August, September, about 5 months in those days. So you're having 2.5 starts every month. So,
Amazing.
it's pretty full on.
Yeah.
Maybe actually, just like a good summer holiday, and then, run them over the winter and then have a break in the summer.
Yeah. A little side note, I had the chase on in the background last night. One of the questions was, what was the smallest number of horses to finish the Grand National at Aintree? Was it 2, 4, or 6?
I'll go 2.
Correct. Yeah.
I didn't watch the chase. And how many, what was that, from about 40 or 50 starters, or how many starters, I wonder?
I don't know, I'll look it up. Apparently it's on YouTube, so I'll be Googling it later on. Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
Foaming Henry, you made a few dollars off him?
Oh, well, I wasn't old enough to bet, of course, Neil, back then, but he certainly raced in a few phantom races around my lounge of the time. I used to cut out the names of the horses and race them around the lounge of a race, making a racetrack from things, having little fences there, and I'd roll the dice and move the horses forward depending on the number of the dice. And yeah, that was, I definitely remember him being in those races, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's good. Steeplechasers have great memories. I remember going to Ellerslie and watching Ascona and Burglar Bill and Brookby Song, I think it was, all those top horses, and Ken Brown riding down the hill. His unusual riding style, but good, great memories, and it does get you hooked on racing, just seeing these characters and these top horses fighting it out. Okay, so next week we'll have another horse walk down memory lane. If viewers have got one they want us to touch on, let us know and we'll consider it. Maybe do it next week. Yeah.
And a chocolate fish, we will definitely send out a chocolate fish to anyone who can find a New Zealand horse that has had more than 67 steeplechases. I looked up Buana. You might remember Buana, Ken Brown trained horse, Ken and Ann Brown trained.
Oh, yeah.
That had 54. So Buana isn't the answer. I don't know if there is an answer. There might be, but keen to know if someone can show us a horse that's had more than 67 steeplechase starts.
Yeah, impressed. Yeah. Oh, well, I have a good day at Trentham tomorrow. Only 7 races, but
yeah, 7
good
races.
fields,
but hey, there's still 7 winners to be found.
You're right. Yeah, and a bit of a punters challenge out there too, I hear.
Yep, the traditional Wellington Racing Club Punters Challenge. So around 35 teams, give or take, competing in that. So we'll see how that goes. We might give you a bit of an update on that next week if it's someone we know that wins it.
Yeah, true. If they want to come on and they could talk through how they made their $1 million at the Punters Challenge. You could be interviewing yourself, you never know.
Well, that would be nice, Neil.
Be nice. Is it from race 3 on? Race 3 to race?
No. It's the Hawke's Bay Punter of the Year style. You have to bet on every race. So it's only across the 7 races at Trentham, minimum of $90 invested per race.
Every race. Right.
So you must bet in every race, yeah.
Okay. Right, yeah. Okay, everyone, have a great weekend and make plenty.